everybody, we're going to read about Miss Kormel is Not Normal by Dan Gottman, pictures by Jim Peelet. Chapter 1. Never Kiss Your Mom in Public. My name is AJ and I hate school. Do you know which is the worst day of the week? If you ask me, it's Monday, because Monday is the start of 5 days of school in a row. That's horrible. Tuesday and Wednesday aren't so great either. Thursday is a pretty good day, because then we only have 1 day of school left before the weekend. Friday is really good, because that's when the school week is over. But the best day of the week is Saturday. I play Pee-wee football on Saturday and we don't have school again for 2 whole days. Too bad it was Monday morning. I was waiting in front of my house for the school bus with my mom. "You be a good boy, AJ," my mom told me. "I will." "Don't get into any trouble, AJ," my mom told me. "I won't." "Remember to raise your hand when you want to talk, AJ," my mom told me. "I will." "Don't shoot straw wrappers at the girls, AJ," my mom told me. "I won't." My mom told me about a million hundred other things I wasn't allowed to do until I saw the yellow school bus coming around the corner. "Mom, I promise not to have any fun at all," I said. "Bye." The bus pulled up. Miss Kormel, the bus driver, pushed a button and made the little stop sign pop out of the side of the bus. So the cars on the street will stop. We call it the magic stop sign. That thing is cool. "Give mommy a kiss, AJ." No way I was going to kiss my mother in front of all the kids staring out the bus window. That's the first rule of being a kid. Don't ever kiss your mother when other kids are watching. I don't want to be late for school, Mom." "Give mommy a kiss, AJ." "That's not gonna happen, Mom." "Give mommy a kiss, AJ." "Over my dead body, Mom." "Give mommy a kiss, AJ." "I will if you give me $100, Mom," I said. My mother tried to wrap her arms around me, but I know how to get away from stragglers. Then, when Mom went to grab me, I threw her a head fake, spun away, and gave her a few of my best fancy footwork moves that I learned playing Pee-wee football. She didn't have a chance. I sidestepped her and ran on the bus before she could hug or kiss me. Ha ha ha, my mom can't play football for beans. Na na na, boo boo on her. Chapter 2. Miss Kormel's Secret Language. I dashed on the bus and there was Miss Kormel, the school bus driver. She was wearing a crash helmet on her head and a silver whistle around her neck. "Bingle boo, AJ," she said. "Bingle boo, Miss Kormel." Bingle boo is Miss Kormel's way of saying hello. One time I asked her why she doesn't just say hello like normal people. "I'm inventing my own secret language," she told me. "Everybody says hello, but I think hello is boring. I'm trying to get people to switch from saying hello to saying bingle boo. Secret language are fun." Miss Kormel is not normal. "Limpus Kidoodle," said Miss Kormel. That means sit down in Miss Kormel's secret language. I look around the bus. There was a snot-covered kindergartner in the front row behind Miss Kormel and a few angry 5th graders in the back row. 5th graders are really mean because they get a lot of homework. The more homework you get, the meaner you are. That's why 5th graders are meaner than 4th graders, and 4th graders are meaner than 3rd graders, and 3rd graders are meaner than 2nd graders. You don't want to go near 7th or 8th graders. They get lots of homework and they just hate the world. I hope I never get to high school. I sat down in the middle by myself. Miss Kormel stopped the bus at the next corner, and a few other kids got on. At the stop after that, my friends Ryan and Michael got on. Bingle Boo, Miss Cornwall said to Ryan and Michael, Limpus-Skidoodle. Ryan and Michael sat down next to me. What did you bring in for show and share? Ryan asked. I bought in an old light switch. I bought in a ball of string, said Michael. Show and share is when we bring something from home that starts with a certain letter of the alphabet and talk about it in a class. Today's letter was S. I took my show and share thing out of my backpack. It was an action figure called Striker Smith. He's a superhero from the future who travels through time and fights bad guys with a sharp sword that's attached to his hand. He can turn into a jet plane, too, and fly when you push a button. I saw a commercial for Striker Smith on TV and bugged my parents until they finally got it for me. Striker Smith belongs to a secret organization of crime fighters, I told Ryan and Michael. In case you didn't see the commercial, you should get extra credit, Ryan said. Because Striker Smith has 2 S's. He's cool, said Michael. Sometimes I take my old action figures down to the basement and my dad let me saw them in half or torture them with his power drill. I take mine out in the sun and melt their faces with a magnifying glass, said Ryan. Michael and Ryan are weird. At the next stop, this really annoying girl in my class named Andrea, who thinks she knows everything, got on the bus with curly brown hair. Well, the bus didn't have curly brown hair. Andrea did. Bingle Boo, Andrea, said Miss Kormel. Bingle Boo, Andrea said. I'll go Limpus-Skidoodle now. What a brown-noser. Andrea plopped her dumb self down in the seat right in front of me, like always. Good morning, Arlo, she said. I hate her. Andrea's mother found out that AJ stand for Arlo Jervis, so Andrea went and told everybody. It was the worst day of my life. I thought I was gonna die. I wanted to switch school or move to Antarctica and go live with the penguins, but my mom wouldn't let me. Penguins are cool. Are you boys ready for the big spelling test this afternoon? Andrea asked. Oh no, I forgot all about the big dumb spelling test. How can I be expected to remember stuff over the weekend? Weekends are for having fun, not for studying for a test. I hate spelling. Do you know how to spell? Spelling, AJ? Asked Andrea. Sure, I said. IHATEYOU. Michael and Ryan laughed. I made my own spelling flashcards, Andrea told us, and I'm going to use them for show and share too, because spelling begins with an S. I was going to tell Andrea that stupid also begins with an S, and that's what she is. But I decided I will save that and use it to the next time she really got me mad. Andrea turned around, so she wasn't facing us anymore. I picked up Striker Smith and pretended that he was going to attack the back of her head with his sword. It was hilarious. Michael and Ryan laughed, but Andrea turned around suddenly before I could take Striker Smith away from her head. That's a nice doll, Arlo, she said. It's not a doll, I told her. It's an action figure. My mother told me that action figures are dolls for boys, said Andrea. They are not, I said. Are too, said Andrea. We were back and forth like that for a while. Striker Smith is a one-man wrecking machine, I told Andrea. He belongs to a separate organization of crime fighters. If Striker got into a fight with one of your dumb dolls, he will rip its head off. Dolls don't fight, Andrea said. Striker Smith does, I said. I thought you said he wasn't a doll, Arlo. Why can't a bus filled with spelling flashcards fall on Andrea's head? Chapter 3. My head almost exploded. Bingo boo, limpus-skidoodle, said Miss Kormel. Andrea's equally annoying crybaby friend Emily got on the bus in front of her house. She sat down next to Andrea, and they studied Andrea's dumb flashcard together. Is everybody here? Asked Miss Kormel, after she picked up a few more kids. Yes, we all said. If you're not here, raise your hand. I knew that was a trick question, because if somebody wasn't there, we wouldn't be able to see if their hand was up. But just to be on the safe side, I got up in my seat to see if anybody who wasn't there had their hands up. Limpus-skidoodle, AJ, said Miss Kormel. In case you don't remember, that means sit down. Miss Kormel doesn't like it when we got out of our seat. No standing on the seat, said Miss Kormel. Can I kneel on my seat? I asked. You can only kneel on your seat if your name is Neil. Anybody named Neil may kneel. Can I stand if my name is Stan? Asked Ryan. Okay, said Miss Kormel. If your name is Stan, you can stand. I can stand sitting down, Michael said. Nobody can stand sitting down, Ryan said. If you're sitting down, you're not standing. Can you crouch if your name is Crouch? I asked. There's nobody named Crouch, Andrea told me. She thinks she knows everything. Oh yeah, I said. What about that guy on Sesame Street named Oscar the Crouch? That Oscar the Grouch, dumbhead, Andrea said. I knew that. Now that we're all here, how about singing a song to make the ride go quicker? Suggested Miss Kormel. Let's sing The Wheel on the Bus, said Andrea. I love that song. I hate that song, I said. Can we sing 99 bottles of beer on the wall? Miss Kormel said we couldn't sing about beer because kids aren't allowed to drink beer. I wouldn't want to drink beer even if I was allowed to. My dad gave me a sip of the beer once. I thought I was gonna throw up. Miss Kormel said we could sing 99 bottles of pop on the wall if we wanted to. The girls start singing The Wheels on the Bus. The boys start singing 99 bottles of pop on the wall. Me and Michael and Ryan tried to sing louder than all the girls. Andrea and Emily tried to sing louder than all the boys. It was really loud in there. Soon, everybody on the bus was screaming and kids were bouncing around like Mexican jumping beans. I covered my ears so my head wouldn't explode. Something about being on a school bus makes you want to go crazy. Maybe it's all that yellow. I'll bet Miss Kormel was sorry she told us to sing. Suddenly, she blew her whistle really loud. Zing-a-zip, she yelled. That, her way of saying quiet down in her secret language. Everybody stop singing. Shh, my cell phone is ringing, said Miss Kormel. It's Mr. Clutch. Mr. Clutch is our principal. He is like the king of the school. He's bald too. One time he kissed a pig. This other time he got stuck on the top of the flagpole. Another time he was climbing the school and the custodian had to rescue him by sticking one of those toilet plungers on his head. We saw it live and in person. Mr. Clutch is nuts. What does Mr. Clutch want? Somebody yelled. Miss Kormel finished talking to Mr. Clutch and turned around to whisper something to the boys in the row behind her. They turned around and whispered something to the girl in the row behind them. They turned and whispered something to the girl in the row across her. Fu then turned and whispered something to Michael. We have to go pick up a nude kid, Michael whispered. A nude kid? I said, that's disgusting. The nude kid better not sit next to me, said Ryan. Tell the nude kid to put some clothes on, said Michael. Chapter 4. Are we there yet? We hadn't even met him yet, but suddenly everybody on the bus was buzzing about the nude kid. Some people don't believe in wearing clothes, said Andrea, who thinks she knows everything. They're called nudists. I call them freaks, said Ryan. My parents say we should respect and celebrate people's differences, Emily said. Your parents are weird, I told her. What's a big deal? Andrea asked. After all, we were born without clothing. You were born without a brain, I couldn't resist adding. Anytime anyone says anything about being born, always say they were born without a brain. That's the first rule of being a kid. I'm nude under my clothes, Ryan told us. Thanks for sharing that with us, I told him. Now I'm totally grossed out. Andrea said that nudists save a lot of money because they don't have to buy clothes. But Michael said that nudists have to spend a lot of money because they always have to buy sunscreen. But Emily said that nudists save a lot of money because they don't have to do laundry. But Ryan said that nudists have to spend a lot of money to heat their house because they're so cold. The nude kid probably doesn't even have a closet at home, I said, because he doesn't have any clothes to put in it. Do you think nude kids are allowed to wear hats? Asked Michael. Zing a zip, yelled Miss Kormel. Miss Kormel had pulled out a big map and she had it open up on top of the steering wheel. She told us we had to be quiet while she figured out the directions. I bet it's hard to drive and look at the map at the same time. To make things even worse, it started raining. Miss Kormel put the windshield wipers on. All the girls started to sing, "The whippers on the bus go swish, 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 swish." Zing a zip, Miss Kormel yelled again. I can't concentrate. We drove for a long time in the rain. It was hard to go so long without talking. Are we there yet? Somebody asked. No, said Mrs. Kormel. Are we lost? Emily asked. Of course not, said Miss Kormel. I just don't know where we are. Oh no, we're going to miss show and share, Andrea said to Emily, like she was all worried. And I bet all weekend making my spelling flashcards. Ha ha ha, I spent all weekend playing football. Na na na, boo boo on her. We were going to be late for school. It was great. I hope Miss Kormel will then find the right way to the nude kid's house for a while, because right after show and share, we have math, and I hate math. Chapter 5. The Middle of Nowhere. Miss Kormel drove for 1,100,000 hours and we still hadn't reached the nude kid's house. Where was it? Now show and share was over for sure. We probably miss math too. If we didn't get to school soon, we will miss our dear time. That stands for drop everything and read. I hate reading. Finally, we drove by some big trucks, and there was a sign that said, "The door." Hey, we're going to take a tour, said Ryan. Tours are cool. The tours aren't tours, Dumbhead, said Andrea. Workers are fixing the road, so Miss Kormel has to get off this road and go another way to the nude kid's house. Big splattinger, said Miss Kormel, and she slammed her fist against the steering wheel. I don't know what big splattinger means, but that's what Miss Kormel always says when she gets really angry or frustrated. What does big splattinger means, Miss Kormel? I asked. Never you mind, said Miss Kormel. I think Miss Kormel must have said a bad word, said Ryan. But she said it in her secret language, Michael said, so we won't know what it means. You shouldn't say bad words. We all tried to figure out which bad word Miss Kormel said. I had heard most of the bad word, but Michael and Ryan knew that a few that I didn't know, and they taught them to me. So, even though we were really late for school, it was still a learning experience. After we got off the regular road, the road we were on wasn't even a real road. It was more like a jungle or a swamp or something. They were these big plants slapping against the bus window. The ride was bumpy and it was still raining. Miss Kormel could barely see in front of her. This is like the rainforest, Andrea said. I hope we don't even eaten by alligators, said Michael. Look, somebody yelled. A family of ducks was crossing the road in front of us. They're cute, shouted all the girls. Let's run them over, shouted all the boys. I didn't really want Mr. Kormel to run over the ducks, but it was hilarious anyway. Miss Kormel kept on driving, but I didn't see the Newt kid's house anywhere. In fact, I didn't see any houses or human beings. Where are we? Somebody asked. The middle of nowhere, said Miss Kormel. I said it was too bad we were at the edge of nowhere, because if we were at the edge of nowhere, we'd be right next to the edge of somewhere, and the edge of somewhere is near the middle of somewhere, which is where we wanted to be. Ryan said we were probably close to the Newt kid's house, because if you were Newt, you'd probably live in the middle of nowhere. That way nobody will see you, and that's where we were. It made sense to me. Andrea looked at her watch and got all upset. We missed dear time, she complained. We're very late for school now. Haha, this was the greatest day of my life. Don't worry, Andrea, said Miss Kormel. I'll get you to school if it's the last thing I do. Just then I heard a genius thought right after dear time is spelling. I hate spelling, and if we missed dear time and we weren't even at the Newt kid house yet, that there was a good chance that we were going to miss spelling too, and that means we will miss the big spelling test, which I didn't study for. I decided that the Newt kid was the coolest kid in the history of the world. Thanks to him, we were going to miss the big spelling test. Big splantinker, said Miss Kormel. Ooh, we all said. Miss Kormel said that bad word again. Chapter 6. The Newt Kid's Dad. Finally, Miss Kormel stopped the bus in front of a house and pushed the button to make the magic stop sign pop out. This must be the Newt kid's house, Ryan said. It looked like a pretty normal house. There was a swing set on the lawn and a car in the driveway. You will never know that Newt lived there. Nobody came out of the house, so Miss Kormel honked the horn. We all cranked our neck to get a look at the Newt kid, but he didn't come out. Where is he? Ryan asked. Suddenly, the front door of the house opened. A guy came out with an umbrella, and it was the most amazing thing in the history of the world. You know why? Because the guy had clothes on. The guy with clothes on came over to the bus. He climbed up the steps and said something to Miss Kormel. Big splattinger, muttered Miss Kormel. After the guy got off the bus, she was probably mad at Mr. Clutch because he made her drive all the way out of the Newt kid's house, and the Newt kid wasn't even there. What did he say? We all asked. What did he say? He said his wife drove their son to school today on her way to work, Miss Kormel told us. She didn't want him to be late on his first day of school. Maybe she took him out to buy some clothes, said Michael. Miss Kormel closed the bus door and made the magic stop sign go back. Before the Newt kid's dad went inside his house, me and Ryan leaned out the window and yelled to him, Hey, mister, do you sleep with clothes on and then take them off after you wake up? Where does your son keep his lunch money if he doesn't have pockets? It was hilarious. The Newt kid's dad just looked at us with this confused expression on his face. Then he went inside. Noticed or weird? Chapter 7. Fighting Evil Under the Bus. Finally, we were back on the road. Miss Kormel was mad at Mr. Clutch for making her drive to the Newt kid's house for nothing. I was mad because we will be at school soon. Andrea was mad because spelling was over and she didn't get the chance to take the big spelling test and show everybody how smart she was. Well, na boo-boo on Andrea. She will go to school on the weekend if it was open. The rain stopped. I was getting hungry. We had missed snack time. It was probably close to lunchtime. We were bored, too, and sick of sitting on the bus. Ryan flipped his light switch on and off. Michael played with his ball of string. I played with Striker Smith. That's when I got the most genius idea in the history of the world. We could tie Michael's string to Striker Smith's leg and fly him out the window. Michael and Ryan realized what a genius I was. We tied the string to Striker Smith and opened the window. You're going to get in trouble, AJ, said Andrea. We're not supposed to hold things out the window. Can you possibly be any more boring? I asked Andrea. We're not holding anything out the window. The string will hold him. Ryan tossed Striker Smith out the window. Look, Ryan said, he's flying. It was cool. Striker Smith was doing loops in the air. You should have been there. He's fighting evil outside the bus, said Michael. Miss Kormel, Andrea whined. AJ threw his doll out the window. It's not a doll, I told Andrea. It's an action figure, and it's none of your beeswax. What is her problem? It didn't matter what Andrea said, because Miss Kormel didn't hear her anyway. Striker Smith was flying outside the bus, dipping and driving in the wind. He was cool. The only problem was that suddenly Striker Smith drove down so far that we couldn't see him anymore. Where is he? Asked Ryan. He's fighting evil under the bus, I said. But I don't think Striker Smith was fighting evil under the bus, because that's when I heard a pop and then a hissing sound. Chapter 8. Striker Smith Final Battle. Ryan pulled the string up. There was nothing on the other end. Striker Smith was gone. Suddenly, the ride got all bumpy. Miss Kormel pulled off the side of the road. She opened the door and got out to see what was the matter. You're in big trouble, AJ, Andrea said. So is your face, I replied. Miss Kormel came back on the bus. She was holding Striker Smith in her hands, or what was left of him, anyway. His head was gone, so was one of his legs and arm that used to hold his sword. I felt bad. My parents probably paid a lot of money to get me this cool action figure, and now it was totally crushed. On the other hand, it is also a well-known fact that crushing stuff and pulling the limb off action figures is cool. All in all, I was just happy that show and share was over. It wouldn't be very cool to show the class an action figure that was missing an arm, a leg, and his head. Who does this belong to? Asked Miss Kormel. Andrea looked at me. I looked at Ryan. Ryan looked at me. Miss Kormel looked at me. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I had to think fast. I said, who does this belong to? Striker Smith belongs to a secret organization of crime figure fighters, I said. I thought Miss Kormel was going to be really mad, but she was just told us all to get off the bus. She said we had a flat tire and she was going to call Mr. Clutch to send somebody out to fix it. In the meantime, we had to wait outside. Now we're going to miss lunch, one of the mean fifth graders complained. Who cares about lunch? Said somebody else. We're going to miss recess. It's all Arlo's fault, said Andrea. It is not, I said. It is too. Oh yeah, I said. Well, stupid begins with an S, and that's what you are. Ha ha ha. It's her in her face. We all got off the bus. It was a quiet road, and there were no other cars or houses or people around. Me and Ryan and Michael went to look at the flat tire. Striker Smith's sword was stuck right in the tire with his arms still attached to it. It was cool. It was like the story The Sword in the Stone, except with a tire. Miss Kormel tried to call Mr. Clutch on her cell phone, but something was wrong, and she started stamping her feet and yelling, "This Blatzinger," she yelled. My cell phone battery is dead. Miss Kormel said she would have to fix it, flat tire herself. She told us to get out lunches and have a little picnic on the sidewalk while she got out her tools and the spare tire. Not everybody had bought a lunch bag because some kids buy the school lunch. They must be nuts. The school lunch is usually rubber hot dogs, chicken nuggets that bounce, and nachos that glow in the dark. I wouldn't eat the school lunch if I was starving and there was no other food left in the world. Miss Kormel asked us to share some of our food with kids who didn't bring a lunch. I gave my tuna sandwich to one of the first graders, but I kept my pudding treat. I always eat my treat first anyway. You should always eat your treat first, because if an asteroid hits the Earth in the middle of lunch and destroys the planet, well, at least you got to eat your dessert. That the first rule of being a kid. It wouldn't be a major bummer if the Earth was destroyed by an asteroid and you didn't have the chance to eat dessert. Hey, Ryan said, look what I found. It was Striker's meth hat. Ryan found it at the side of the road. We decided right away to hold a funeral for the hat. Michael dug a little hole in the dirt, and we dropped the head into it. Some of the other boys on the bus gathered around. Very well, Striker, Ryan said solemnly. You defeated it, the mighty tire. You sacrificed your life so that other might not have to go to school. You paid the ultimate price. Made the ultimate sacrifice so that we can live and freedom from reading, writing, and arithmetic. Long live Striker Smith. We will always remember you. It was really sad. I almost cried when Michael said a little prayer. Ashes to ashes, dust to dusted. We buried Mr. Striker Smith because he was busted. He was really cool, but now he's dead. It's hard to live when you don't have a hat. We covered up Striker's grave, and Ryan said we should have a moment of silence in horror of our fallen superhero. It was really quiet. Then, in the middle of our moment of silence, Andrea said, "Boys are dumb hat." Chapter 9. We are survivors. Finally, Miss Kormel fixed the flat tire and said we could get back on the bus. She was all sweaty, and her hair was messed up, and her hands were covered with grease. She looked too tired to be mad at me or Mr. Clutch or anybody else. She just got into her bus driver's seat and he took a gas. The bus lurched forward and we all fell back in our seat. It was really late. Andrea complained that we might have missed social studies. Ha ha ha. That was fine with me. I hate social studies. Why is it called social studies anyway? Miss Kormel was driving fast. We were far from school. It looked to me like we were still in the middle of nowhere. The road was really bumpy and it was wet from the rain. Miss Kormel was having trouble keeping the bus in the middle of the road. I was afraid she might drive right off the side of the road. And what's happening next was the most amazing thing in the history of the world. Do you want to know what happened? I'm not going to tell you. Well, okay, I'll tell you. Miss Kormel drove right off the side of the road. Bis Blactinger, shouted Miss Kormel. The bus got to a stop. Some kids even fell out of their seat. It was hilarious. You should have been there. Is everybody okay? Miss Kormel asked. Yeah, me and Michael and Ryan said. That was fun. Can we do it again? We're stuck in a ditch, said Miss Kormel. We're not going anywhere. What are we going to do now? Asked Emily. She looked like she was going to cry, and I was amazed that Emily had cried yet. She usually can't go 5 minutes without crying about something. I don't know what to do, Miss Kormel said sadly. My cell phone is dead. I guess we'll just have to wait for his help to arrive. Too bad Striker Smith isn't here, I said. He would know what to do. If you hadn't thrown the dumb doll out the window, none of the worlds have happened, yelled Andrea. He's not a doll, I yelled right back at her. Zing-a-zip, yelled Miss Kormel. Everybody was really depressed. We just sat there on the bus. There was nobody around. No houses, no stores, no nothing. Nobody was going to rescue us. I felt like we had been on the bus 1,100,000 hours. It occurred to me that we might not only miss the rest of the school day, we might miss the rest of our life. We could sit there forever. We could die out there. Suddenly, I felt hungry. I wish I hadn't given my sandwich to that first grader. I was starving. I was afraid my stomach might eat itself. My friend Billy, who lived around the corner for me, and was in second grade last year, told me he once heard about some guys who was stranded on an airplane and he ate seat cushions to survive. We might have to eat the seat cushions, I told Michael and Ryan. Ryan, look at the seat cushions. There's something you need to know about Ryan. He will eat anything, even stuff that is not food. One time we gave him $1 to eat dirt. Ryan got down on the floor and took a little bite from the corner of the cushion. Ugh, he said. It's horrible. Put some ketchup on it, suggested Michael. Ketchup makes anything taste good. Michael gave Ryan a little ketchup packet from his lunch bags. Ryan put it in the seat cushion and took a tiny bite. It is not bad, actually, Ryan said. Ryan is weird. It was so boring sitting there waiting for somebody to rescue us. I almost wish we were at school, almost. I saw this reality TV show where some people were stranded on a desert island, Michael said. It is not a desert island, dumbhead. Andre turned around to say, it's a desert island. Once desert is one of our spelling word that week. Then she held up her dumb flashcard with the word desert on it. Rescue, Ryan said. A desert island will be cool to be centered on, I said. There will be ice cream and candy treats and everywhere. Hey, look, said Emily. I just noticed that desert is dress spelled backwards. So what? Said Ryan. Backward is rock cap. Backward. Who cares about backwards as backward? Asked Andrea. But it's up. Backward, I mentioned. Biz Blatzinger, shouted Miss Kormel. Will you please sing his up? I couldn't blame Miss Kormel for being mad. It was a rough day for her. We had a whisper after that. Hey, whispered Ryan. Whispered Michael. I just thought of something. Maybe we're on a reality TV show right now and we don't even know it. That's impossible, Ryan whispered. If we didn't know we were on a reality TV show, we wouldn't be talking about us being on a reality TV show. I think Michael's right, I said, looking around to see if there were any hidden cameras. Maybe this was all planned in advance for the reality TV show we're on right now. Oh yeah, said Andrea. Who planned for you to throw your doll out of the window and cause a flat tire? It's not a doll, I said. Don't you have any respect for the dead? If this is a reality TV show, Ryan said, we're going to have to throw somebody off the bus. Why? Asked Emily. Because that's what they always do on reality TV shows, Sambat, I said. You vote somebody off and they have to leave. But why? Asked Emily. Because that's the rule, Michael told Emily. She doesn't know anything about reality TV show. I vote for Andrea, I said. I vote for AJ, Andrea said. Ooh, Ryan said. AJ and Andrea voted for each other. They must be in love. When are you gonna get married? Asked Michael. If those guys were my best friend, I would hate them. Chapter 10. Miss Kormel is driving us crazy. We wouldn't just sit around on the bus forever. Soon we will die of starvation or kill each other, like they do in the movies all the time. We got to do something, Emily said. For once she was right. That's when I got the most genius idea in the history of the world. There must have been at least 20 kids on the bus. If we all put and push, maybe we could push the bus out of the ditch. I got up and told Miss Kormel about my genius idea. At first she thought I was crazy and told me to go limp as Doodle. But I guess she thought it over and decided to give it a shot. Okay, everybody, off the bus, she yelled. We all got off the bus and went to the back. When I say push, everybody push, Miss Kormel yelled out the window. 1, 2, 3, push! I pushed with all my might. Everybody was grunting and groaning and moaning. The bus didn't move. Harder, yelled Ryan. And then the most amazing thing in the history of the world happened. The bus started moving. Hooray, everybody yelled. Miss Kormel steered the bus back onto the road, and we all piled in. She told me my idea was great, and I promised to drive carefully the rest of the way to school. The only one who wasn't happy was Andrea. She was looking at her watch. Now we're Miss Music class, she complained. That was fine with me. I hate music. You know, Michael said. Maybe Miss Kormel isn't a bus driver at all. Did you ever think of that? Yeah, Ryan said. Maybe she captured our real bus driver and has her tied up in a cave. Stuff like that happens all the time, you know. Stop trying to scare Emily, Andrea said. Maybe we're being captured, I added. Maybe Miss Kormel is driving us North Pole, where she's going to do unspeakable things to do. Like what things? Emily asked, all worried. I can't tell you, I told her. They're despicable. Forgot to do something, Emily said. I don't want to go to the North Pole. That girl will fall for anything. Emily probably wanted to run away, but there was no place to run. She was stuck on the bus, so she started crying. What a baby. Once Emily started crying, it set off a chain reaction, and the other kids started crying too. Some of the first graders said they wanted their mamas. Some kids panted in his pants. Everyone was freaking out. The fifth graders made a sign and put it in the back window. Help! Our bus driver is driving us crazy. I didn't cry. I figured that it would be pretty horrible to be kidnapped and driving to the North Pole, but at least we wouldn't have to go to school anymore, and they have penguins at the North Pole too. Or maybe that the South Pole, either way penguins are cool. Are we there yet? Somebody asked. Knock it off, yelled Miss Kormel. Chapter 11. We finally meet the nude kid. The bus turned a corner and we saw the big sign, elementary school. We're there yet, announced Miss Kormel. Yippee, yelled all the boys. Boo! Yippee! Yelled all the girls. Boo! Yelled all the boys. Miss Kormel pulled the bus up to the curb, and Mr. Clutch came running over. A bingle boo, he said. What? But he never got the chance to finish his sentence because at that very moment the weirdest thing in the history of the world happened. Miss Kormel must have leaned against the magic stop sign button by accident because the magic stop sign on the side of the bus swung out at the exact same time as Mr. Clutch arrived. The stop sign smacked Mr. Clutch on the side of the bald head. He fell down. It was a real Kodak moment. Those stop signs are dangerous. We all rushed off the bus to see if Mr. Clutch was okay. He stood up slowly. He looked like he'd been in a fight or he drank too much beer. Well, what happened? He asked. The stop sign hit you in the head, said Mrs. Kormel. I'm so sorry. No, I mean, why were you so late? Asked Mr. Clutch. Everybody started telling Mr. Clutch what happened. We had a flat tire. We got kidnapped and drove to the North Pole. We went to the nude kid's house. AJ threw his doll out the window. Ryan ate his seat cushion. We got lost in the rainforest. We pushed the bus out of a ditch. We had a funeral for Striker's meth head. Well, I'm just glad you're all safe, said Mr. Clutch. Did we miss the big spelling test? Asked Andrea. Oh, your teacher, Miss Daisy, was out sick today, said Mr. Clutch. So your class had a substitute teacher named Miss Todd. You'll have your spelling test tomorrow. Yippee! Yelled all the girls. Boo! Yelled all the boys. While we were yelling, the school bus rang. The front door opened and kids started pouring out. It's 3 o'clock, said Mr. Clutch. Everybody back on the bus. It's time to go home. Home? Said Andrea. But we just got here. Miss Blattinger, yelled Miss Kormel. Hey, wait a minute, I said to Mr. Clutch. Where's the nude kid? Nude kid? Said Mr. Clutch. What are you talking about, AJ? You know, I said, the kids we were going to pick up before we got lost. Oh, said Mr. Clutch. You mean the nude kid. He's not nude. He's new. Here he comes now. This kid named kid came over to the bus. He looked pretty normal. He even had clothes on. What's your name? Ryan asked him. Neil. Really? Michael asked. Yeah, my name is Neil Crouch. Is that your real name? I asked. Neil Crouch? Sure it is, he said. Why? Well, I exclaimed, if your name is Neil Crouch, that means you can kneel and crouch on a bus. Why would anybody want to kneel or crouch on a bus? Asked Neil Crouch. Because we're not allowed to, we all yelled. Sheesh, the nose kid has a lot to learn about being a kid. He's weird. Me and Michael and Ryan decided to keep calling Neil Crouch the nose kid. Even if he didn't wear clothes, we all got back in the bus and Miss Kormel pulled out of the driveway. Maybe she'll get us back home before we die of starvation. Maybe. We'll find out what Miss Blattinger means. Maybe I'll talk my parents into getting me another Striker Smith action figure. Maybe Neil Crouch will learn how to be a kid. Maybe I'll pass the big spelling test tomorrow. But it won't be easy. So today we already read about Miss Kormel is not normal. So bye bye for now. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.